One evening, a man and his wife are discussing what they think their son will be when he grows up. "I have an idea," says the father. With that, he puts a crisp $10 bill, a bottle of fine whiskey, and a Bible on the coffee table. If he takes the money, he'll be a banker. If he takes the whiskey, he'll be a drunk. And if he takes the Bible, that means he'll be a preacher. The man and his wife hide just before their son comes in the door. As they watch from where they're hiding, the boy goes over to the coffee table. First, he picks up the $10 bill, looks at it, and sets it down. Then, he picks up the bottle of whiskey, uncorks it, sniffs it, and sets it down. Lastly, he picks up the Bible, leafs through it, and sets it down. Then the boy takes the money and stuffs it into his pocket, grabs the whiskey, and walks off with the Bible under his arm. "Well, how do you like that?" exclaims the father. "He's going to be a politician." 3 old men are reminiscing in a nursing home. They start complaining about their biggest regrets on getting old. The first old man said, "I'd give anything to take a good pee like I did when I was young. Every morning I get up, it takes me 5 minutes to take a pee, and then it's only a small dribble." The second old man said, "I'd give anything to take a good dump like I did when I was young. Every morning I sit on the throne and strain until I can finally get a little something out." The third old man said, "Well, every morning at 5 a.m. I take me a really long pee. Then at 6 a.m. on the dot, I drop a really big log." The other 2 old men look at him and say, "So what the heck are you complaining about?" The third old man says, "I don't wake up until 7. The year is 2036, and the United States has just elected the first woman as president. A few days after the election, the president-elect calls her father and says, "So, Daddy, I assume you will be coming to my inauguration?" Her father replies, "I don't think so. It's a 16-hour drive, and your mother isn't as young as she used to be, and my arthritis is acting up again. Don't worry about it, Daddy. I'll send Air Force One to pick you up and take you home. A limousine will pick you up at your door. I don't know. Everybody will be so fancy. What would your mother wear?" asked her father. "Oh, Daddy," replies the president-elect. "I'll make sure she has a wonderful gown, custom made by the best designer in Washington." "Honey," her dad complains, "you know I can't eat those rich foods you and your friends like to eat." The president-to-be responds, "Don't worry, Daddy. The entire affair is going to be handled by the best caterer in Washington. I'll ensure your meals are salt-free, Daddy. I really want you to come." So her dad reluctantly agrees, and on January 20th, 2036, the first woman is being sworn in as President of the United States. In the front row sit the new president's dad and mom. Her dad leans over to the Supreme Court justice sitting next to him and whispers, "You see that woman over there with her hand on the Bible, becoming President of the United States?" The justice whispers back, "Yes, I do." Her dad says proudly, "Her brother played football for the University of Texas." A Montana rancher got in his pickup and drove to a neighboring ranch and knocked at the door. A young boy, about 9, opened the door. "Your pa home?" the rancher asked. "No, mister, he ain't," the boy replied. "He went into town." "Well," said the rancher, "is your ma here?" "No, mister, she ain't here neither. She went into town with pa." "How about your brother Howard? Is he here?" The boy answered, "He went with ma and pa." The rancher stood there for a few minutes, shifting from one foot to the other and mumbling to himself. "Is there anything I can do for you?" the boy asked politely. "I know where all the tools are if you want to borrow one. Or maybe I could take a message for pa?" "Well," said the rancher uncomfortably, "I really wanted to talk to your pa. It's about your brother Howard getting my daughter, Polly Mae, pregnant." The boy considered for a moment. "You would have to talk to pa about that," he finally conceded. "If it helps you any, I know that pa charges $100 for the bull and $50 for the boar, but I really don't know how much he charges for Howard." I met an older woman at a bar last night. She looked pretty good for a lady who must have been in her 60s. In fact, she wasn't bad at all. I found myself thinking that she probably had a hot daughter. We drank a couple of beers, and then she asked me if I'd ever had a sportsman's double. "What's that?" I asked. "It's a mother and daughter threesome," she replied, as my mind began to embrace the idea, and I wondered what her daughter might look like. I said, "No, I haven't." We drank a bit more, and she said with a wink, "Tonight's going to be your lucky night." We went back to her place. I was nervous, with anticipation of the fantastic night ahead, and an experience to always remember. We walked in, she turned on the hall light and shouted upstairs, "Mum, you still awake?" For decades, two heroic statues, one male and one female, faced each other in a city park until one day an angel came down from heaven. "You've been such exemplary statues," he announced to them, "that I'm going to give you a special gift. I'm going to bring you both to life for 30 minutes, in which you can do anything you want." And with a clap of his hands, the angel brought the statues to life. The two handsome figures approached each other, a bit shyly, but soon dashed for the bushes, from where shortly there could be heard a good deal of giggling, laughter, and shaking of branches. 15 minutes later, the two statues emerged from the bushes with wide grins on their faces. "You still have 15 more minutes," said the angel, winking at them. Grinning even more widely, the female statue turned to the male statue and said, "Great, only this time, you hold the pigeon down, and I'll do my business on its head." A mall manager has 3 spaces to rent, all in a row. A prospective lessee, by the name of John, shows up and says he wants to rent the space on the left for a men's wear shop. "That's fine," the mall manager says. "You also get free signage." "What do you want on the sign?" "Menswear," says John. A second guy, named Richard, comes along and asks to rent the right-hand space for his gentleman's formal wear business. When asked, he wants menswear on his sign. The mall manager tells him that the left-hand shop will also have the same sign. "No problem," says Richard. Finally, a third man, named Gary, comes along to rent the middle space. The manager is somewhat concerned because this guy also has a menswear shop. The manager explains that the shops on either side of his are both menswear, and that's what their signs say. He then asks Gary what he wants on his sign. Gary chuckles and replies, "Main entrance." My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.